been printing pamphlets telling people what to do if they encounter federal agents. They've handed out whistles as well so they can sound the alarm if anyone spots a federal agent or if arrests are taking place. The talking points from Democrats out here is that the president is trying to trigger riots with these enhanced immigration enforcement and therefore justify the need for the deployment of the National Guard.
Federal authorities in Chicago say a suspect is under arrest for allegedly making threats against ICE agents. The gap between candidates for governors in New Jersey is lowering as the gubernatorial race in Virginia is tightening. Here's Fox's C.B. Cotton.
In New Jersey, Democratic Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill spotlighted housing costs, and Republican candidate, former state assemblyman Jack Ciattarelli, counters with his promises to slash income tax brackets and make student loan interest tax deductible. In Virginia, new polls show incumbent Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl-Sears is closing the gap on Democratic opponent Abigail Spanberger. Spanberger tried to focus on affordability and poise herself as a centrist, but Earl-Sears has suggested her rival is indeed a member of the progressive left. Both Republicans and Democrats will use these races to see which playbook comes out on top in terms of getting support from independent voters.
America is listening to Fox News.
I'm Emily Campagno, and I'm taking you inside the Idaho murders. In Moscow, Idaho, a small college town, one case so violent and heartbreaking shocked the nation. 4 students were found brutally murdered in their off-campus home, prompting a cross-country search for the cold-blooded killer. The Fox True Crime Podcast presents Inside the Idaho Murders, the evidence, the manhunt, the killer, and the victims.
Listen and follow now at foxtruecrime.com. Every weekday, it's your go-to source for staying informed and entertained. The Fox News Primetime Highlights Podcast, offering a curated selection of the most impactful moments of the Ingram Angle, Jesse Waters Primetime, Hannity, and Gutfeld. Listen and follow now so you never miss a moment of the action-packed highlights from these must-watch Fox News Channel shows. Go to foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you listen to podcasts. America's listening to Fox News.
Tensions right.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He's saying there's been less violence. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending this hour. Indianapolis police say violent crime is trending down, which lines up with what Mayor Joe Hogsett has been saying about the city's progress.
Over the last 3 years, we have reduced criminal homicides by over 50%. And while we still have a ways to go, the numbers are trending in the right direction.
IMPD Chief Chris Bailey added that when it comes to crime, what people feel often matters as much as the actual numbers. A large gathering at the State House Friday, including hundreds of students calling for peace and less gun violence in schools and in the country in general. Democratic State Senator Andrea Hundley was also at the walkout event.
We know that anytime that there's gun violence, anytime that there is a gun death, it has ripple effects across the entire community. But I don't think we have to accept the way that things are right now. We could ban assault-style weapons. We could do that.
The walkout was a nationwide occurrence with Indianapolis schools taking part locally. The Colts are gearing up for their season opener Sunday at 1 against the Miami Dolphins. Daniel Jones will get the start at quarterback. The team will also induct late owner Jim Irsay into the Colts Ring of Honor. And the Powerball jackpot is up to an estimated $1.8 billion for Saturday night's drawing. Here's what these people think about what they would do if they won it.
You'd be surprised how quick it goes. When you start spending, buy a house, buy a car, buy a house for your wife.
You understand, it's not how much you get, it's what you do. I will get a financial advisor as well. You know, one that I could trust.
It's the second largest jackpot in U.S. lottery history. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Now the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Mostly sunny, high temperatures cooler than average in the lower 70s. We'll continue a dry streak through much of next week with no rain chances. Temperatures eventually get back into the 80s midweek. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
Grow Grown-ups, don't go back to school. Go forward through school into your future as an IT professional. Whether you're starting out, switching careers, or a veteran ready for change, My Computer Career can help you get into IT in just a few short months with no prior experience. So take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Your rewarding career in IT awaits. That's mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the VA benefits.
Puccini's Pizza, Pasta, Puccini's. 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 Puccini's Pizza, Pasta, Puccini's.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You keep lying when you ought to be truthing. And you keep losing when you ought to not bet.
You're listening to Saturday Night on The Circle on 93 WIBC.
Now what's right is right, but you ain't been right yet.
Welcome back to another edition of Saturday Night on The Circle, where I'm your host, Ethan Hatcher. That's producer Jack on the board, pushing the buttons and doing the things to make the show function. And my goodness, producer Jack, what a difference 24 hours can make. You know what? The listeners can't say that they weren't warned. At least on this show, I, myself, and others expressed concerns about the legitimacy and the truthfulness of Lieutenant Governor, then candidate Micah Beckwith, and we were scorned for our objections and our unease at the very foolish statements that he's made over a long period of time. In fact, producer Jack, I took a lot of guff personally for sounding the alarm on Micah Beckwith. I was called just a bitter, hateful atheist. I was said, oh, the only reason why you don't like Beckwith is because he's a pastor and you just have a problem with Christians. And it didn't matter that I have been and continue to be happy supporting many Christian candidates and giving my vote to them. It was this nutcase in particular that I objected to. But no, I was dismissed. And then now, well, Micah Beckwith has stepped in it. And guess what?
I was right. I was right. Everything I say is right. You'd be better off if you did what I said. I have no sympathy. You should have listened to me. I was right. I was right. I was right.
This is in regard to a statement he made about more than 40,000 Haitian migrants being welcomed into our state. But I can see your look of confusion, producer Jack. So let me set the stage, if you will, to statements he made back when he was still candidate, I believe, for lieutenant governor. No. I'm sorry. Actually, he had secured the nomination. This was October 17th of 2024 when he posted on Twitter, "Don't miss this exclusive interview with Indiana's Republican Lieutenant Governor nominee Micah Beckwith on WoWo with Kayla Blakesley." Micah joined Kayla to speak up about the Haitian migrant influx happening in Indiana, calling out local and state leaders for their silence. He explains why this isn't just immigration, but an invasion that's straining our schools, hospitals, and law enforcement. In this candid conversation, Micah discusses why leaders need to step up and act, and how the Braun Beckwith ticket is ready to handle the problem head on. Strong words, producer Jack. Strong words indeed. In fact, we've cut a couple clips from that interview he did in WoWo with Kayla Blakesley all the way back 11 months ago in October. This is how he felt at the time, or at least what he was representing to Hoosiers. He believed about the influx of Haitian migrants across America.
We all know, we can see through this, this is a invasion. This is not immigration. This is something that needs to be addressed both on the county level and on the state level, because the federal government is not doing its job. And what happens is with these TPS, temporary status licenses that these people are given, they will run out. That time will expire, and then who's going to come and get them? Are they checking to make sure they go home? No, nobody's doing that. We all know that. They're going to stay here. They will be illegal at that point. But by that point, it's already too late. And so what we have to do is we have to have leaders in our local community that are willing to do the hard work of identifying the people who should not be in our community and then working with the state to get them out. And I say working with the state because the federal government has abandoned us. They're not going to do anything about it. And so it's our job as leaders now to step up.
You sit on a throne of lies.
So there's Micah Beckwith representing to Hoosiers that if elected, he would be that voice. He would do the hard work to get out the migrants that shouldn't be here, send them back home, and roll back the invasion in our state. Strong words coming from the lieutenant governor nominee. And he also went on to say that they would go so far, if elected, as to deporting these migrants to Martha's Vineyard if they had to.
I really believe with our ticket, the Braun Beckwith ticket, this is one of our priorities. We will figure out a solution. We will become a Texas. We'll become a Florida. And if we have to, we'll ship people to Martha's Vineyard if we need to. But we are going to get the people who should not be here out of our communities because it is unloving if we do anything other than that.
It sounds great, but it's all lies.
We should remove the migrants from our communities because it would be unloving to do anything other than that. That was Micah Beckwith's words 11 months ago, and then now the world sees him for the spineless hypocrite that he is, someone who has no core convictions, like a sociopath, will look you square in the eye and lie to you. Because as of yesterday, he posted this on Twitter, producer Jack. September 5th, 2025. Yesterday, I sat with Haitian pastors from Marion County. Their people have endured earthquakes and violence. Now, mind you, the earthquake was 15 years ago, but that matters not to the lieutenant governor, who says, and now more than 40,000 are seeking asylum here in Indiana. We spoke about barriers of language and culture while also discussing the power of faith and family. What I saw was not a community asking for a handout, but people determined to work hard, raise their children to become contributors to the great Hoosier state, and assimilate in the great American way of life.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
So I don't need to point out to you, producer Jack, that now Micah Beckwith has completely sold Hoosiers down the river. He has turned his back on the referendum that the MAGA election set in November of 2024, which specifically was a repudiation of the open border policy that the Biden administration had brought to our borders. And then now here's Micah Beckwith wanting a continuation of that. Let's put into perspective here the size of those 40,000 immigrants. I come from a small town here in Indiana, producer Jack. I was raised in New Palestine, Indiana, which is still a small community, a suburb in the Donut counties surrounding Marion County. And this is a small town, population as of 2024 of 3,621 individuals. So that's not a lot of people, producer Jack, but enough for a small town with a nice little high school and a cool ice cream shop and a few other little restaurants, a grocery store, a family butcher shop. You know, I mean, it is a small but thriving community. 40,000 Haitian immigrants brought to the state of Indiana, thousands elsewhere in states across America, would be more than 11.45 more, 045 more New Palestine-sized small towns in America, comprised entirely of foreigners who might not necessarily share our language or our cultural background. That is going to completely remake communities, and that is not what the lieutenant governor was elected to support. I'm sure he is currently just aghast with himself because this has gone viral. Millions of eyeballs have now been put on his Twitter post, and he is being publicly shamed, as he should, for betraying his principles, plainly and squarely. But this is not the first instance of Micah Beckwith making unwise statements. I thought I would play a couple of his greatest hits, Producer Jack, because like I said, we've been on his case for quite a while here on Saturday Night on The Circle. Anybody who's listened for a long time will be familiar with that. This is something he said in regards to the October attack, I believe a couple of years ago, 2023 in Israel, when he came on the Kendall and Casey show and said that Israel should wipe them all out. Why? Because God loves killing, of course.
Some people might be saying, oh, my gosh, killing, that's not godly. No, it's absolutely very godly. God dealt with evil the same way. You kill it, you put an end to it, and then you can live in peace.
Oh, boy, here I go killing again.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
This was a clue, in my opinion, about what a psychopath Micah Beckwith is, because a pastor telling you with a straight face that killing is very godly is the same kind of rhetoric that is being used by Muslim extremists to enact horrific violence around the world, and that is not something that we should promote in our American government. Of course, again, he said other really stupid things, including after January 6th, 2021, when he began musing in a car post that he uploaded to social media that, in fact, it was God himself who brought the riots to Washington, D.C. If that sounds loony and unhinged to you, I agree. Here was what Micah Beckwith at the time.
People are disgusted by what they saw, and a lot of people are, freaking out over what they saw, and I can totally understand that. But I was in prayer this morning. We're doing a 21 days of prayer at Life Church, and you know what the Lord told me? He said, Micah, He said, I sent those riots to Washington. He said, what you saw yesterday was my hand at work.
What an idiot, following in, unfortunately, a long line of political hypocrites. But if there is a silver lining to any of this, Producer Jack, it's that now everybody else in Indiana and across America can see this guy for the goon he is and has been for a long time. Thanks for listening to Saturday Night on The Circle. I'm your host, Ethan Hatcher. Of course, like I said, he is not alone, certainly in his hypocrisy. I got a couple more clips I want to work through before we go to the next break. This is Chuck Schumer, all the way back in 1996, actually saying something I think many people in our audience would agree with, as much as his base today would excoriate him for making the same statement. But back in 1996, Chuck Schumer believed that the number one reason why illegals came to the United States was to defraud programs like Social Security, something that he was attempting to stop at the time, all the way back when he was still a New York congressman.
Let's admit the truth. Everywhere people go, they're asked for a Social Security card. In fact, one way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a Social Security card. This is an anti-fraud amendment. All over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud.
It's a joke. It's all a joke.
Also, Tucker Carlson sat down and had a conversation with a immigration scam that we have seen shades of here in our own Hoosier state, actually discussed by the Indianapolis Star of all things. These are visa schemes where immigrant business owners leverage their status as a business owner in the community to get loans, and then also visa access, which they allegedly then sell back to migrants from their own homeland, enriching themselves and defrauding the United States. In the process, this was what Tucker Carlson had to say.
I think that if you look at some of the cases that have been filed, even under the Biden administration, against operations that look a lot like what's happening in Maine, they're immigration scams. They're using these businesses as a pretext to get SBA loans and also to get access to visa programs so that they can sell legal entry into the country to people back in.
So they're selling those visas.
To be clear, I don't have proof that that's happening in Lincoln or Dexter, but there are indictments There's one I know very well in Texas where that's exactly what was happening.
It's made every town where I've seen it, and it's a dozen or more worse. No, don't like that.
If this sounds familiar, producer Jack, that's because allegedly this may have been a similar scheme being purveyed by one of the contractors in the Secretary of State Diego Morales administration, Raju Chintala. You might remember him when he ran for Congress just last year. From the Indianapolis Star, they say one of Secretary of State Diego Morales' companions in his eyebrow-raising March trip to India, who was being paid by taxpayers for a no-bid business contract with Morales' office, appeared to use part of the overseas trip to promote his own private business interests, advertising a, quote, fast-track route to United States residency to would-be foreign investors. So from the conversations of Tucker Carlson right to the threshold of our own state, the overwhelming scam being run in mass migration should sicken the stomach of any true red-blooded American, and highlights, it's like salt in the wound, all the more the words and the hypocrisy of Micah Beckwith now selling Hoosiers down the road to import another 40,000 asylum-seeking migrants to the state, overwhelming our communities and creating another 11.045 New Palestine-sized towns of foreigners across Indiana. Not good stuff. Not good stuff. And it doesn't end there, producer Jack, because coming up next, we're going to talk about data centers and the damage they bring to your community. Stay tuned for that. This is Saturday Night on The Circle.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling will pay you cash for your scrap metal. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling may seem familiar to you, and that's because they are. They're trusted local family-owned businesses going back 3 generations in Indy with their familiar orange logo and a name you know. But you may not know they'll pay you cash for your scrap metal. Cash is king. Your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, and brass will get you cash from Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Just drop it off or schedule a pickup, and you'll put cash in your pocket. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Local names you can trust with 2 locations.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Get cash for your scrap. Get started at farnsworthmetals.com. Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today. Today.
It's JMV. Fall is approaching, and Miss M's Home and Garden is ready to help you. Visit the Garden Center for all things fall as the Labor Day sale continues. Now at Miss M's, save 20% on all trees, shrubs, and patio furniture, plus 30% on all pottery. These are the deals you do not want to miss. Get ahead on the fall planning, add some color with the high-quality pottery, or get a few pieces of poly patio furniture just in time for cooler fall nights. Miss M's on State Road 135, south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville.
I think we can all agree. Over the last few years, things have gotten weird.
Weird, confusing, and at times, pretty scary.
And for our kids, these things can be overwhelmingly stressful.
And can increase the risk for mental health problems as they grow.
But there's so much hope.
Scientific research and real-life experience
tell us that the #1 antidote to stress is authentic, trusted relationships.
So that's why I.
That's why we.
That's why I am committed to building and maintaining a trusted space.
For the students I influence every single day.
Until schools across the country
can proudly call ourselves a trusted space.
This is a trusted space.
This is a trusted space. This is a trusted space.
This is a trusted space.
This is a trusted space.
Access free films and resources to build trusted spaces in your schools and communities at atrustedSpace.org.
Smokey the Bear.
Then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do.
What you desire, don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com. And remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
This is Robert with Kirby Heating and Air. Looking for a company that still has pride in their work? Choose Kirby Heating and Air for all of your HVAC needs.
Kirby is a trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Find the path to recovery that works for you. Learn more at cdc.gov/stopoverdose.
But if this ever-changing world in which we live in makes you give it a cry, say live and let die.
This is Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your Bohemian codger, Ethan Hatcher. The podcasts are uploaded to WIBC.com and my personal podcasting page, SaturdayNightOnTheCircle.fireside.fm. Plus, we're streaming live 7 to 9 every Saturday night on the YouTube machine, so hop in the chat and join the fun. Across America, the latest trend to hit communities are massive data centers being built in their towns, but now residents are pushing back against them as costs are offloaded to citizens and benefits extracted by the developers and technology firms that control them. Taking center stage in this conversation locally is Franklin Township, whose residents are objecting to this proposed more than 450-acre monstrosity that promises to gobble up farmland and lower the standard of living for citizens while raising their utility rates in the process. Now, the only thing standing between them and the decimation of their community is a crucial Indianapolis City Council vote. One man has become the voice of opposition to this societal decay at the expense of citizens. Here now to explain the woes of data centers once again is one half of the much acclaimed broadcasting duo Kendall and Casey. Rob Kendall joins the show.
I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. I am the lone voice against societal decay. I'm going to use that at the Hammer and Nigel store. You're going to see it on a shirt soon.
Well, certainly when it comes to data centers, you have made it your mission to explain to the community exactly what they are doing. And yeah, we've got more than 70 already that are in Indiana, and there's no reason to have another one right there in Franklin Township. It's got a lot of problems. You have the floor, my friend.
Yeah, so I saw somebody the other day, they're like, well, all these data centers existed before in Indiana. Where were you? So one, I've been talking about them for a long time. But two, they're getting bigger and they're requiring more resources, and the giveaways to them are getting more ridiculous. So let's talk about that for a second, right? So the data center, when you're talking about a data center, they need two things, really. They need, one, massive amounts of space, right? Because you're talking hundreds of acres to house these data centers. And they need natural resources. Mm-hmm. Indiana gives them that. Like, they can't just exist anywhere. They have to have specific things. And this is the crazy thing to me about any giveaways to these data centers is we are already offering them something they can't get almost anywhere else, which is the space and the access to resources. Yet, for some reason, on top of that, we're taking these giant dystopian-looking buildings that'll be giant eyesores to the community, and we're giving them the farm to come here, and I don't know why.
They are giant concrete boxes, and in addition to gobbling up the utilities, which, mind you, comes at your expense because you will be paying the utility rate increases to account for the increased demand, but there's also ecological concerns because, as you pointed out, these are large, voluminous, concrete, oppressive, dystopian structures that are being erected in farmland, and that has a water displacement effect because when it rains, the water's got to go somewhere. If it's being offloaded from these large concrete structures in the surrounding areas, it could increase flooding.
So our politicians have an obsession with what was described to me years ago, and I've used this for years, as BSOs, bright, shiny objects. Sure. And when they see the price tag, oh, Google's going to put $1 billion building, and I don't know if that's the value of the building, right? But I'm just making that up. There's going to be a $1 billion building, and we get Google. What does that mean, you get Google? Most of these data centers employ 30 to 50 people. Mm-hmm. And so you get the value of the building with that, but not much else. And the way most people know, the way property taxes work, those property taxes go to a specific community. They don't go to everybody. So you've got $1 billion building with basically no workers of any substance to speak of. The commerce it creates is limited. And the building is going to be abated for 10 years anyway, and I think they have a chance to go for more abatements on top
for
of that.
Up to 50 years, Rob. And this could be one of the tech bubbles. We've seen that happen in our lifetimes. I mean, the dot-com bubble of the 2000s, where it completely fell out from under everybody. There's no guarantee that this AI is going to become, a huge facet of our society. Like, it's the hot thing right now, but 10 years from now, it could be a thing of the past. And if you're giving a tax abatement for 10 or 50 years, you could be seeing zero benefit to the community from this thing before the whole thing goes bust.
Yeah, that's the thing. If Google or whoever comes in and says, I'm building $1 billion building and I'm going to pay my full freight from the day I'm there, okay, different story. Still major concern about the utilities and the access to water and electricity. Still another conversation. But if you're saying you're paying, $3 million or more or it'd be $30 million or more in property taxes annually, okay, different ballgame. But when we're talking about the abatements and the giveaways and the IEDC incentives and hundreds of millions of dollars going out to attract these companies, I just don't see what the benefit is, certainly for the risk and the potential harm that is done.
And then we know what's going on in the Secretary of State's office. Those 30 to 50 jobs might not even be going to citizens within the community. They may well be imported from foreign shores. So
well, we're chuckling about these places like Noblesville that are like paying people to move there. And it's like, if you're a resident of somewhere like Noblesville,
why would that excite you?
Well, yeah, you've been there 30 or 40 years. You've been a great member, law-abiding citizen. You've worked. You've made it a place people want to live. You get nothing. But if you're some HB1 worker, they'll roll out the red carpet and give you, I don't know what the number was, 15 grand or something like that. And it's just like, what are we doing here? How did Indianapolis, how did central Indiana, how did we become this thing? We were a state that fed a nation, right? We were the rolling, beautiful farm fields and the great scenery. And it's just like, it's all going away. And this is the thing I keep coming back to people. If the growth is so great, why have our tax burdens never been higher?
Yeah.
If all this growth is so wonderful, our property taxes have never been higher, our road taxes have never been higher, our income tax, there's massive income tax increases in the property tax bill. That's about to go up for a lot of people. You've got the utility bills that are skyrocketing. And it's all because of this growth. So stop the growth. If the growth isn't making us money, stop doing it.
So what stands between Franklin Township and this monstrosity from coming up in their community? Because as I understand it, the Franklin Township Council, they voted by a thin margin to move this forward. It now goes to an Indianapolis City Council vote where the majority of legislators, I think it's 16, have now said that they intend to vote against it. But whether that, comes true,
Joe Hogsett has a way of getting his way.
Sure.
And how many times have we seen that guy finagle what seemed improbable or almost impossible? So, yeah, I get that 16 have said, which is enough to vote it down. But I don't know whether that guy's got nudes of everybody or what. He seems to find a way to get what he wants. So we'll see if all 16 of them, 15 of them have to hold firm. They've got 16, which means they could lose one. If they lose two, they're out. We'll see what happens.
Well, Democrats are going to fold like a damp cloth, but what remains to be seen are these Republicans. All four on the city council have said that they intend to vote against the data center. And what I loved is, our friend of the show, socialist city council member, Jesse Brown.
We love Jesse.
He actually ate crow.
Yes.
Because he was wrong. He expected the Republicans to support the data center going up, but he crumpled up a little piece of paper and ate crow. It hilarious. I love that.
Now, I know you have a lot of fun with Jesse, and I enjoy your back and forth on Twitter. Here's what I will say about Jesse Brown. He is probably the most honest. Josh Bain, I would put him in there, too, on the Republican side. Honest member of that city-county council. He's probably the most trustworthy person on the city-county council.
Ironically.
And I would much rather have 25 of him, and we get an honest, above board discussion and actions from our council members, even if we vehemently disagree with them, versus what we see from the current administration.
Sure. So, at least, with Jesse Brown and Josh Bain, you got two no's in the bank. Where it goes from there remains to be seen, but hopefully it's not going to damage the community, because for them, they're the people that are going to pay the most if this goes up.
And people need to pay attention to this, whether you live in Franklin Township or the one going out in Monrovia. You need to wake up to this, because they're like these data centers are like horror movie characters. You can bury them at sea. You can put them 30 feet underground. You can light them on fire. You can chop them in half. You can do whatever. They keep coming back. If they don't get what they want at one place, they'll come to the next place, and eventually they'll come to a place near you, and you need to be aware of their impact, and you need to fight back, because these things are bad news, and it's going to be bad news for all of us in the long term.
Like, they're also just bloody ugly, I mean, to look at. It's like a form of psychological warfare because it's constantly bringing you down, having to look at this monstrosity. And then the light pollution. I wouldn't want to live anywhere near that because just for security purposes, the parking lot, the surrounding structures got to be lit up. That sucks.
Yeah, one thing they're doing, too, which is interesting, there's one community that has a data center on the horizon, and the people who owned the land basically like went to the community and they said, well, we're selling this one way or another, so you get to pick your poison. Do you want it to be a high density housing development? Do you want it to be what's all these people then will flood into your community? Do you want it to be warehouses where all this truck traffic will destroy your infrastructure? Or you can have this data center, well, yeah, it's ugly, but it's only like 50 people and everybody will basically like leave you alone. And the people there were like, well, if we have to choose, I mean, they're sort of in a way being held hostage. Like, if we have to choose, I guess we'll just choose the eyesore that doesn't bring all the people or the infrastructure damage. Our economic development in this state is so upside down. The IEDC needs to go away. Until the IEDC goes away, you're going to continue to see this crony capitalism, the shadow government stuff, the lack of transparency, the giveaways to very select people. And until that is fixed, look, they can forensic audit the IEDC all they want, which they're doing, until you have to burn it to the ground and come up with a new way we do economic development in the state.
I think that's a great way to end this segment because it encapsulates so many aspects of modern life when every choice you're given and none of them are good.
Yeah, that's right. Except listening to this program, Ethan. Except listening to you on Saturday night. That's a great choice.
And thank you for coming on the show, Rob.
Yeah, thank you.
And you should stay tuned to 93 WIBC. More Saturday Night on the Circle is on the way.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
Luxury awaits you at Tom Roush Lincoln & Fishers. Come see the full line of breathtaking Lincoln vehicles at Indiana's premier Lincoln dealership. From the moment you arrive at Tom Roush Lincoln, you'll know you've arrived. Shop over 200 new Lincolns in our state-of-the-art family-owned and operated dealership with no pressure. Just the award-winning service and respect you deserve, plus complimentary pickup and delivery for service. Luxury awaits you at Tom Roush Lincoln & Fishers.
We all have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. Cancer screening tests can help keep the person you love around longer by detecting changes before cancer develops, or catch it early when it may be easier to treat. And many tests are available for free or are covered by insurance. It's time to sound like a broken record. Tell all your friends and family, I love you. Get screened. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn more.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Kirby Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer, serving Hendricks and surrounding counties.
Fox News, I'm Roger Stern. Tensions were building in Chicago where many feared ICE might round up people as the city's Mexican Heritage Parade was taking place.
Volunteers have been putting together pamphlets telling people what to do if they encounter any federal agents. They're also handing out whistles so really anyone can sound the alarm.
Fox's Mike Tobin in Chicago. 300 agents have been stationed outside the city. The South Korean government held an emergency meeting following the ICE raid of a Hyundai plant in Georgia with 475 arrests.
The foreign ministry there is not happy about this raid, saying they are very concerned. But President Trump says ICE is just doing its job.
Fox's Madison Scarpino in Georgia. Hyundai says none of those arrested were direct employees of the car maker. America is listening to Fox News.
Attention Indiana homeowners, are you dealing with a wet and moldy crawl space? Hi, I'm Adam Swain with Swain Co. Crawl Space and Basement Repair, your real, local, Indiana family-owned experts dedicated to fixing your crawl space right the first time. And with our new, no interest, no payment financing, you can get the repairs you need without breaking the bank. Don't let crawl space water problems dampen your spirits. Call Swain Co., Indy's most trusted waterproofing experts at 317-407-1868 or swaincollc.com.
Listen up, football fans. You won't want to miss this.
Right now, new Bet365 customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets, win or lose. So you could turn that $300 into something bigger when you bet on money lines, spread, totals, player props.
$300 in bonus bets when new customers bet $5. I know where I'm going to bet from now on. Download the app today and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-9-WITH-IT. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Indiana. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want to boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Turn things all the way up and find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy.
Hey y'all, I'm Blake Shelton. Being from Oklahoma, I know a thing or two about natural disasters. Tornadoes are common where I'm from and have affected my life and the lives of people I care about. No matter where you live, be aware of the dangers in your area and have a plan. You can create an emergency kit, come up with an evacuation plan, and know where to seek shelter. You never know when a disaster may hit. These simple steps can help save a life. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
It's jungle out there, disorder and confusion everywhere. No one seems to care. Well, I do.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Poison the very air we breathe.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time once again to put on your handy-dandy hazmat suit as we wade through the audio sludge of another week in news. We'll begin with Peter Doocy poking fun at the liberal conspiracy that Donald Trump had died over the weekend, only to triumphantly return in 2 days. Disgraced CNN host Don Lemon accidentally but completely correctly refers to Congressman Sarah McBride as dude in a hilarious clip. J.D. Vance pushes back against a dim-witted reporter more concerned with cartels than citizens, and you'll be glad to live here in the good old US of A when you hear the Ontario Chief of Police's plan for victims to respond to home invasions, and you'll hear it all on this week's edition of The Sound Dump.
I'll take you for a ride. I'm a garbage truck.
It's the Saturday Night Sound Dump on 93 WIBC.
I take you to the dump. I show you the sights, you know you wanna ride. I'm a garbage truck.
This is the one and only Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your bespectacled curmudgeon, Ethan Hatcher. That's producer Jack. Beep, 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 on the board, pushing the buttons and doing the things to make the show function. Where this week, Jack, I gotta say, the show's been going pretty damn well indeed, flying by fast. And if you missed a moment, make sure to check the podcasts uploaded to WIBC.com, as well as my personal podcasting page, Saturday Night on the Circle.fireside.fm. Plus, I believe we're on a few other podcast platforms as well. Lots of places to check out the show. We're beginning this week with Peter Doocy poking fun at that ridiculous leftist conspiracy from last weekend when they were saying Donald Trump died hilariously. And, of course, that wasn't the case because here was Peter Doocy talking to him, looking fit as a fiddle in the process.
How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see it for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really?
You didn't see that?
You know, I have heard it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do him for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports.
Now that's comedy.
What makes this extra hilarious is indeed, as Trump points it out, how utterly uncurious the lamestream media was when it came to Biden's disappearances, when it came to his 1,000-day, in some case, absences, not giving a press conference. I mean, it was some truly ridiculous stuff, including from former press secretary old Circleback Psaki, who indeed found the time to speculate on why Trump may have disappeared on her own show, which very low ratings program.
Really can't make this stuff up sometimes. And look, we may never know why Donald Trump suddenly spent a week hiding entirely from the American public, but you don't actually need baseless online conspiracies to explain why he might not want to show his face in public right now.
Why are you the way that you are? I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
A pathetic showing from old Circleback Psaki, who used to provide cover for the Biden administration in the early days, never wanted to admit the mental decline of her former employer, never wanted to hint at the health failings that he was experiencing, in fact, leading up to potentially a cabal and a secret takeover in the government, because he wasn't even cognizant enough to sign his own pardons. That was all done by the famed auto pen there in the White House. So yes, a very frail man indeed, but she was uncurious at the time. Here's Don Lemon doing a TikTok-styled interview, which is a desperate ploy to stay relevant. Of course, he was so low ratings, he got yanked off of CNN because he offered them nothing at all, and now he is reduced to this, producer Jack, inadvertently getting viral moments when he called the transgender member of Congress, Sarah McBride, called him correctly a dude, but, you know, in liberal parlance, that's quite offensive, which Don Lemon certainly counts as a liberal.
This is my car. I'm heading back to Delaware.
It is, dude. Do you have a Hemi in here? What is it?
This is a beautiful Chevy Equinox, American made.
You got a whole closet back there.
It's a
Can we
traveling
see?
office.
Can you roll this down? No. Look, she's got a whole closet full of clothes. You're not living out of your car. Is this
I'm
Weekend
not.
Breaking
No.
News? Is this
But
an
you
exclusive?
you always need to change your clothes.
Yes.
Get in your mouse and get out of here.
Dude, is that a Hemi? I'm not sure if Don Lemon actually even caught himself in that moment, but yeah, you know, he made a Freudian slip. He accidentally told the truth. Certainly something unusual for Don Lemon. And part of this proliferation of mental illness is due to the influence of school officials who are trying to normalize this as just another aspect of biology, which it's certainly not. Listen to the sneaky way that Washington State Superintendent Chris Reichdel tries to conflate genetic abnormalities with gender existing on a spectrum, which is incredibly dishonest.
We have a civil rights framework in this state. It includes trans youth. This is a biological question. It is quite simply inaccurate to say biologically that there are only boys and there are only girls. There's a continuum. There is a science to this. There are children who are born intersex. There are children whose chromosomes and their hormones aren't consistent with their sex at birth. That's not a debate we're going to have today. I just want to remind you of our civil rights obligation. Our state laws make clear that students get to identify and participate in activities based on the gender in which they identify. We're going to uphold that law.
Stop it, please! I beg you! It's a sin! It's a sin! It's a sin!
Gender does not exist on a continuum. There are genetic abnormalities, but that's exactly what they are. When he's talking about children who are born with different or an imbalance in chromosomes, born with other defects and abnormalities, that does not mean gender exists on a spectrum any more than legs and arms exist on a spectrum. Sometimes, producer Jack, due to environmental factors or other genetic abnormalities, children are born with withered limbs, with or without one or more arms or legs. But that doesn't mean arms and legs exist on a spectrum or a continuum. Now, those individuals absolutely have a right to life and pursue health in a meaningful way, but that doesn't mean that all of a sudden this abnormality should be recognized as a biological fact of life. Like, far from it. Here was J.D. Vance. I loved this, pushing back on a reporter who seemingly cares more about the cartels than she does about citizens. Of course, this week, the United States bombed a group of Venezuelan narco-terrorists in international waters, and this incredibly distressed the liberal media, who also, incidentally, didn't give a damn when Barack Obama drone struck American citizens in the Middle East overseas when he was president, but that's neither here nor there. At least J.D. Vance is incredibly based.
On the Venezuela vessel strike, what legal authority were you guys working under, and will there be an after report on the strike?
Well, I'm sure there's going to be an after report. I mean, the legal authority, and I want to talk about these kids, is that there are people who are bringing literal terrorists who are bringing deadly drugs into our country, and the President of the United States ran on a promise of stopping this poison from coming into our country. Another question?
Snoop Dogg.
It seems like bombing the narco-terrorists will continue, something I think most Americans would support. One more clip, and then I gotta go. This is the confused chief of police in Ontario, Canada, who advises you to comply with criminals rather than defend yourself. God, I'm glad I live in America.
In the unlikely event that you find yourself the victim of a home invasion, we are urging citizens not to take matters into their own hands. While we don't want homeowners to feel powerless, we urge you to call 911 and do everything you can to keep yourself and loved ones safe until police arrive, and be the best witness possible. This could mean locking yourself in a room away from the perpetrators, hiding, fleeing the home, but don't engage unless absolutely necessary. As it stands, we know the best defense for most people is to comply, as you've just heard, a number of safety recommendations.
Why am I like an evil person? Oh my God. I mean, absolutely. Do I not tell you that enough? You are like the most evil guy I know, man.
Just comply with the criminals, lay down and shut up. That's the advice of Canadian police. What sick puppies. Thanks for listening to Saturday Night on The Circle. Stay tuned for more.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
It's the start of our favorite season here in Indy, football season. That's right, with all the hype and action this season brings, we know things can get loud and messy real quick. Before you invite your friends and family over to watch the games, you better call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to clean up all those fumble moments in your home. And lucky for you, you can score big this month with great savings. Hi, this is Denny Smith, and you can get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning too. The Zero Res service is easy to line up, and you can go online at ZeroResIndy.com to do the scheduling at your convenience. And don't forget the ZR water difference. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, leaving things really clean. Now mention WIBC and you'll get 3 rooms cleaned by the Zero Res Pro starting at just $129. $129! Plus $75 off duct cleaning too. 317-388-5141. Online at ZeroResIndy.com.
My name is Ariel. When I arrived in the U.S. at 19, I struggled to find job opportunities without my high school diploma. My entire life changed when I took a chance and got my high school diploma at age 22. Everything I have, my education, my career, my marriage, I owe to the Adult Literacy Center and my teachers. They were with me every step of the way, helping with my English and math, making sure I pushed through all the challenges.
Ariel, your success proves that what I'm doing as a teacher has real meaning.
It was an honor helping you achieve your greatness. Now you're helping others achieve theirs. It inspires me.
Education was the key that unlocked all my opportunities.
When you graduate, they graduate. Find free and supportive adult education centers near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
We need each other because every someone needs someone else.
We need each other because when we work together, we can do so much more.
We connect more children with what they need to grow up healthy, educated, and safe. And that's what Child Fund is all about.
Because when you make someone's world better, you make everyone's world better.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
Learn more at childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
Want in on special WIBC contests?
That is correct.
Join the text club. Text WIBC to 317-239-9393. Exclusive giveaways are just a text away. This is Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to Saturday Night on the Circle. This segment, I'd lined up a couple horror stories from the modern age, but unfortunately, I think I'm only going to be able to get to one of them because I've ran myself out of time. So much to talk to in hour one, but don't worry, we still got an hour to go. This is a report about the world's first genetically edited horse, which could revolutionize sports and horse breeding as we know it. This is from a breeder in not even a breeder, a gene editor in South America. They are changing the chromosomes and the gene expressions of horses to make them stronger, faster, larger. And producer Jack, before long, we're going to start mutilating horses the same way that we mutilated the pug. Pernicious genetic abominations unleashed on society in pursuit of commercial gain. We're going to ruin them worse than breeders ruined the greyhound, producer Jack. Creatures that live short and brutish lives due to the abuses that genetics has inflicted upon them.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Yeah, weird. Certainly weird. And there's a lot of other weird stuff going on in the world, but we'll have to get to that another time. Crazy stuff indeed. Stay tuned for hour 2 of Saturday Night on the Circle coming up next.
And he went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to My Computer Career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
With all the choices of where you could buy your furniture and mattresses, here's why you should purchase your new Lazy Boy, Smith Brothers or Flex Steel Furniture, Tempur-Pedic, Sealy or Stearns and Foster mattresses, or Berlin Gardens and Pollywood outdoor furniture from Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Unmatched customer service during and after the sale. Have a service issue, they're just one call away. They deliver and set up for free if you live within 75 miles of their store in Columbus. Saves you hundreds. Family owned, worth the very short drive. ThompsonFurniture.net.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
I'm a veteran. My victory was admitting I had PTSD and getting help.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I no longer see it as a weakness, but as a sign of strength. I call it post-traumatic growth.
DAV provides a lifetime of support, helping veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I am a veteran. I lost both legs in Vietnam.
Every year, DAV helps more than 1 million veterans so they can reach victories great and small.
My victory was getting my benefits and a good education.
I'm a veteran. When I got out, I felt like nowhere was safe. My victory was finding the help I needed.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
Thanks to DAV, now I feel like I'm human again.
Help support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
We may be thousands of miles apart, but we can still connect. And when we do, we make things better. At Child Fund, we connect children all around the world with what they need to grow up healthy, educated, and safe. Together, we co-create connections that help millions of children who live in poverty worldwide, and their families, and their communities, and you. Join us. Together, we can make the world a better place. 2 small worlds at a time. Visit childfund.org to learn more.
Broadcasting from the Technology Recycler Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News, 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
Chicago's next, and it's not happy. I'm Daria Albinger, Fox News. President Trump's immigration crackdowns impacting the Windy City this weekend. Fox's Mike Tobin says Democratic lawmakers are pushing back.
President Trump has forced himself back in the headlines and is drawing the ire of Illinois Democrats with a post on Truth Social. The post channels Robert Duvall in Apocalypse Now, titled Chipocalypse Now. It reads, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War." Senator Tammy Duckworth blasted back, called the president a draft dodger. Senator Durbin slammed the post as well.
The terrible things that the President of the United States is saying about using troops in the Department of War in the city of Chicago is an embarrassment and disgusting.
A little shy of 200 protesters have gathered, and the reason they're gathering at the naval station is because ICE is using it as a logistical hub.
President Trump is also said to be considering sending National Guard troops to Baltimore and to other cities. ICE agents detained hundreds as they raided a Hyundai factory in Georgia, where the car maker is partnering with an American company to make EV batteries. Fox's Madison Scarpino in Savannah.
Officials say it was a result of a months-long investigation into illegal workers, but Hyundai says that none of the hundreds arrested directly worked for the motor company, but the majority of those detained were from South Korea. And South Korea's foreign ministry is not happy.
미국의 법 집행 과정에서
the economic activities of our companies investing in the United States and the interest of our citizens must not be unduly violated during the course of U.S. law enforcement.
A White House spokesperson saying in part, quote, "Any foreign workers brought in for specific projects must enter the United States legally and with proper work authorizations."
America is listening to Fox News.
Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
It's time to take the quiz.
It's 5 questions in less than 5 minutes. We asked people on the streets of New York City to play along. Let's see how you do.
Including the pre-Super Bowl era, what NFL franchise has won the most NFL championships?
I'm going to say the Cowboys.
Good guess. I would say the Packers.
Take the quiz every day at thequiz.fox. Then come back here to see how you did.
And thank you for taking the quiz.
Britain.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Claiming crime in the city is down. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending this hour. Violent crime is down in Indianapolis, with police reporting steady declines across nearly every category through the first 8 months of 2025.
There are unfortunate incidents, but frankly, unfortunate incidents occur all over the town.
After breaking ground on the Indiana Fever's new practice facility built on the site of the old Marion County Jail, Mayor Joe Hogsett said the city's drop in murders, shootings, and property crimes reflects broader national trends. About 50 guardsmen with the Indiana National Guard are being deployed to assist in ICE operations. The Guard says those members will be ready to help with administrative and logistics-related tasks by the middle of this month. The deployment is part of a nationwide effort to support ICE. Of the handful of winners in Indiana from Powerball's Drawing Wednesday, a mother and daughter from Porter County took home $150,000. Helen and Robin pooled together $40 to buy some Powerball tickets at a convenience store in Chesterton, and they hit big. Saturday night's Powerball jackpot is for a cool $1.8 billion, the second largest jackpot in U.S. lottery history. And the Indianapolis Colts will be inducting late owner Jim Irsay into their Ring of Honor during halftime of Sunday's game.
Honoring Mr. Irsay, I think there's a lot more to it. Obviously, week one with him going into the Ring of Honor, and honoring this season. It'll be a big week one for us as a team.
That's head coach Shane Steichen talking about that. Kickoff between the Colts and the Dolphins set for 1 o'clock Eastern time. Daniel Jones is getting the start at quarterback. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Mostly sunny, high temperatures cooler than average in the lower 70s. We'll continue a dry streak through much of next week with no rain chances. Temperatures eventually get back into the 80s midweek. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
Fall is approaching and Sundown Gardens is ready to help you. Visit the Garden Center for all things fall as the Labor Day sale is continuing. Now at Sundown Gardens, save 20% on all trees and shrubs, 30% on all pottery. These are the deals you just don't want to miss, so get ahead on the fall planning, add some color with high-quality pottery, and ensure your property is beautiful for the fall season ahead. Sundown Gardens on the corner of 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield, sundown.gardens.com. That's sundown.gardens.com.
When I was younger, I may have did some stupid things, even committed some crimes, but I am not a criminal.
I work for youth advocate programs, yeah. I was Tamani's advocate, helping him stay out of jail, stay in the neighborhood, and get a job.
As a little kid, I experienced trauma and I acted out. Made some mistakes, but I'm not a mistake.
As Jalen's YAP advocate, I'm always here for her.
YAP is a community-based alternative to youth incarceration and neighborhood violence. Youth advocate programs. Learn how at yapinc.org.
The Attorney General's Office, reuniting Hoosiers with over $1 million in unclaimed property every week. Visit indianaunclaimed.gov or text Tony Katz to 46220 today.
No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
This is Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Thanks for tuning into the show this evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to the one and only Saturday Night on the Circle, where I'm your bespectacled curmudgeon, Ethan Hatcher, and producer Jack is on the board doing the things to make the show function. We begin this week by noting the continued decline of Chicago. They are doing their best to attempt to prevent Donald Trump from deploying the National Guard to their community and restore law and order. Anything to keep the Trump administration from getting a win. That is the depth of their Trump derangement syndrome. Even the governor of Illinois there, the dim-witted J.B. Pritzker, is attempting to shift blame for the crime in his state and placing it at the feet of Republicans in red states. This was during a conversation he had with a reporter who was noting the violence in Chicago that unfolded just last weekend.
You're going to hear people, especially this past weekend, 54 shot, 7 dead.
Yeah.
They're going to say, the city's not safe. Would you ask your friends to ride the L after midnight or after, 9 o'clock at night even to come down to the city from O'Hare?
Look, big cities have crime. There's no doubt about it. But let's just pay attention to what President Trump is doing targeting Chicago. He's overlooking red states that have much higher crime rates.
Move this man!
And indeed, some red states may have higher crime rates. You can look to our own state of Indiana. Indianapolis is outpacing Chicago in crime per capita. But that's Indianapolis, producer Jack. Yes, in the middle of a red state, but an extremely blue city. And that's the case elsewhere in other parts of the countries. Yes, there may be high crime in red states, but almost unilaterally they are in blue cities, just like most of Illinois is a red state, were it not for the enormous population of Cook County. In Chicago, which is a blue city, and there again you have crime that is out of control. But what Donald Trump has demonstrated with the law enforcement crackdown in Washington, D.C. is that controlling crime is a policy decision. It is not something that is inherent with big cities. It is not a fact of life that must be tolerated. It can be combated if the laws are being enforced. But of course, the narrative that the left is trying to put is that it's Republican states that are bringing this crime to Democrat cities, including Brandon Johnson, who had this fascinating missive basically saying that the shootings will continue until morale improves. What a guy.
Shootings will continue as long as this presidential administration continues to put politics over people.
No.
Evil. I'm like an evil person.
Oh my God. I mean, absolutely. Do I not tell you that enough? You are like the most evil guy I know, man.
So, no. It has nothing to do with the administration. It has everything to do with lawlessness that is being propagated by Democrat prosecutors, the revolving door of the criminal justice system that exists in Chicago. It certainly exists here in Indianapolis as well. But here's the mayor again, attempting to shift blame to red states.
Chicago will continue to have a violence problem as long as red states continue to have a gun problem.
You're a liar, and you will spend an eternity on this ship.
That is totally incorrect. It can be evidenced in their own city. Here is a clip from Chicago News noting 2 women who were hospitalized after a repeat offender in Chicago assaulted them after other convictions in 2017, in 2022, in 2023, and 2024. These intersections with law enforcement, but released back on the streets to continue to re-offend. That is the problem that the mayor wants to ignore.
13 mugshots of Livingston going back to 2012. A large number of those arrests for aggravated assault and battery of both women and police officers, something Miles found out after the fact.
Like, what is enough? You know, what does someone have to do where they're going to be held accountable?
According to online records, Livingston's history of random acts of violence against women goes back 8 years. In 2017, he was accused of randomly attacking 2 women months apart. Both cases were dropped. In 2022, Livingston was sentenced to 5 years in prison after prosecutors said he punched and attempted to rob 4 women within 20 minutes in the Loop. And yet, just 14 months later, in 2023, while on parole, Livingston was arrested for hitting a woman in the face on North Michigan Avenue. And in 2024, he was sentenced to 100 days in prison after punching a 15-year-old girl.
I'm in danger.
There is little wonder why he continued to reoffend after he faced no responsibility, no accountability in 2017, 2022, 2023, or 2024. These people are given carte blanche freedom to inflict violence on the community until eventually it goes too far, which I guess it remains to be seen whether that will be deemed in the assault of these 2 women or whether he will be released to reoffend yet again. That is the problem that we're experiencing here, producer Jack. Not violence that's being unleashed from red states, but rather the lawlessness that is being unleashed by prosecutors who follow the liberal strictures proffered by restorative justice, which is in fact a perversion of justice, something we've seen here in Indianapolis as well. Recently, there were a couple of assaults on the Monon Trail here in Indianapolis from an individual who himself has interfaced with law enforcement many times, 14 times in jail, as a matter of fact, in just the last 10 years, and he's only 27 years old. Yet here he is assaulting women again on the Monon Trail.
2 attacks took place along this same area of the Monon just 6 days apart. Luckily, police were able to find DNA evidence that helped them track down the suspected attacker.
Jogging past this bridge overlooking Fall Creek during an early morning run 3 weeks ago, a woman saw a man standing near this bench. Within seconds, that woman was grabbed in a headlock, dragged into these woods, and repeatedly punched and choked until she passed out. Court records claim the victim recalled her attacker yelling, "I'm going to kill you," over and over again. Despite suffering numerous injuries, that victim wrestled her way free and ran back to the trail where a good Samaritan helped scare off the attacker. Less than a week later, a second woman reported being grabbed from behind, knocked to the ground, and strangled before she was sexually assaulted by the same suspect. Police say DNA recovered from the fingernail of one of the victims was quickly tested by the Marion County Crime Lab and linked 27-year-old Larry Duerson to the two crimes.
This was a senseless attack, and we're thankful that an arrest was made in this case.
According to this affidavit, Duerson told police he had schizophrenia and confessed he assaulted both women but denied raping them.
Finally, the suspect is now being held without bond.
Though it is my earnest wish ever to temper justice with mercy, your persistent dedication to a life of crime is an abomination before God and man.
So if you take away anything from this segment, know this: it's that lawlessness and social decay are the result of policy decisions being made in your city. It's not something that we must tolerate, that we must live with, that is an inevitable result of large cities. It is the result of poor decision-making on the part of prosecutors, and we are all victims of the lax and limp-wristed approach to law enforcement that is propagated by liberal do-gooders. Thanks for who are shielded, by the way, from their own bad decisions. Thanks for listening to Saturday Night on the Circle. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the Epstein victims. They have stepped forward and talked about their assaults and also named names for a few individuals who may have been involved, plus some more developments with the Trump administration and a shocking statement made by Speaker Mike Johnson. We'll get into it all coming up in the next segment, so stay tuned to the one and only 93 WIBC. This is Saturday Night on the Circle.
Kendall and Casey.
The ultimate job of why we send people to Congress is not to be a teammate or an opposition to the president. It's to be a check and balance. If there's areas you agree, great, you vote together. If there's areas you don't agree, you push back. And all we see now in terms of our Congress is just, hey, if it's Democrat, it's blanket opposition. And if you're Republican, it's blatant errand boy behavior.
Kendall and Casey. Weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
What's up, Indy? Hammer and Nigel here for Window Nation. Now is the best time of the year to buy new windows. Whether you have old, drafty windows or cheap builder-grade ones, September is the perfect month to protect your home from cooler weather. And right now, Window Nation is offering their most popular offer. Buy 2 replacement windows, get 2 for free. Plus no interest, no monthly payments, no down payments for 2 years.
And did I mention their installation crews can replace a house full of windows in 1 day or less? With Window Nation, you get top quality windows from a trusted company, all at a reasonable price because they know replacing windows is an investment and they want to make it affordable for you. Don't miss Window Nation's most popular offer. Right now, buy 2 windows, get 2 for free. And remember, you'll pay nothing for 2 years. Hurry, Indy, you need to hurry because this sale won't last forever. 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com to get that free quote.
I'm a veteran. We hit a mine in Vietnam. When I came home, I didn't know where to turn.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
My victory's been never giving up hope. My wife is always there to remind me we have a life to live.
DAV provides a lifetime of support, helping veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I am a veteran. But after I got out, I spent 2 years alone and homeless.
Every year, DAV helps more than 1 million veterans so they can reach victories great and small.
My victory was finding the support to get back on my feet. Now I'm getting things right with my family.
I finally admitted, with my PTSD, I wasn't doing well.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
Now I wish I'd found DAV sooner. I am a veteran. My victory is just enjoying each day.
Help support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
It's just alcohol. Everybody drinks. You may have already heard this statement from your teen. I'm Tammy Silverman with Indiana Youth Institute. Alcohol is a substance most commonly abused by teens. Survey data shows that 2 in 10 Indiana high school students reported drinking in the past month, and more than half of Hoosier teens say it would be easy to get alcohol. How do you talk with your teen about alcohol use, especially if they see peers or adults drinking? First, understand that your child may point out contradictions in our society's views on alcohol. It's okay to acknowledge those facts. Talk with your teen about the many risks of alcohol use. During your conversation, you can both validate their views and uphold your family values. You are the first line of defense against alcohol abuse, so don't be afraid to talk to your teen. What you say has a big influence on their decision to drink or not. This Kids Count Minute is a message from Indiana Youth Institute. For more parent tips, visit IYI.org.
Kids count on you.
Teachers shape the future. Right now, in a classroom somewhere in the United States, there's a teacher inspiring a future scientist who'll make preventing pandemics their life's work. Sharpening the mind of an aspiring environmentalist who'll help combat climate change. And generating possibilities for a student who'll be the first in their family to graduate college. Explore a career that leaves a legacy you can be proud of. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
This is Robert with Kirby Heating and Air. Go to kirbyheating.com to schedule with one of our qualified service technicians.
Kirby Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
The Indianapolis Public Library. More than just books. Visit your local branch today.
You don't own me. I'm not just one of your many toys. You don't own me. Don't say
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIPC.
Welcome back to Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your host, Ethan Hatcher. Producer Jack is on the board. In this segment, I wanted to discuss the Epstein victims who held a press conference this week, sharing stories of their abuse, as well as dropping a few names of individuals who may have been involved. And yet, as of yesterday, Donald Trump perplexingly continues to dismiss these demands for additional Epstein files as a Democratic hoax, and also in spite of pressures from his own party demanding transparency from the administration. House Oversight Committee released more than 33,000 pages of Epstein documents this week, but Trump's handling of the scandal has driven a wedge between the president and his coalition of supporters, including Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is pushing back on the idea of calling it a hoax. And of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene, an individual with her own set of problems, very eccentric, some may say unstable, but in this regard, producer Jack, she is 100% right.
Today he called it a hoax while these women were speaking out and they were saying, we're not a hoax, we're human beings. And I think we need to see something turn around there.
You know,
and I'll say this, Eric.
He can prove it's a hoax by releasing it. Let us decide if it's a hoax or not. I mean, I love everything they're doing. I'm MAGA through and through.
Well, I just want to finish up on one thing.
Yeah.
It's not a hoax because Jeffrey Epstein is a convicted pedophile. That takes away the whole hoax things. It's not a hoax. It's not a lie. Somebody who is a real coward from one of the Trump admin officials came out and called this a hostile act. Well, that coward attacked me and attacked anybody else and called it a hostile act. The hostile act was Jeffrey Epstein raping 14-year-old girls. That was the hostile act, and it's not a hoax.
Yes, I was on the sex island, but only for the snorkeling. I didn't know anything about the kid stuff. No, look, 95% of what went on down there was not pedophilia.
Oh, yeah?
No, the other 5%, that sullied the whole operation.
Yeah, it sure did. We still know distressingly little details about the abuses taking place on Epstein Island, but the disturbing revelations that we do know are that included not dozens, producer Jack, but hundreds of girls over a period of years, billions of dollars of transactions through bank accounts and through offshore accounts associated with Jeffrey Epstein, dozens of flights from former President Bill Clinton to Epstein Island and elsewhere, which raises the question of how deep the involvement prominent political officials was in the wrongdoings of this prolific sexual trafficker and abuser. Nobody believes, no reasonable person believes that this is a hoax, that there is no way to corroborate the involvement of other wrongdoers with Jeffrey Epstein, and the pressure is still up. But now Speaker Mike Johnson, he is perplexingly representing, I believe for the first time, I don't recall hearing this before, that Donald Trump himself was involved with the Epstein investigation. Yes, the same Epstein investigation that he's now calling a hoax, but this is what Mike Johnson had to say.
He's not saying that what Epstein did is a hoax. It's a terrible, unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down. The president knows and has great sympathy for the women who have suffered these unspeakable harms. It's detestable to him. He and I have spoken about this as recently as 24 hours ago.
I don't believe you. So he's trying to say that not only is the president not referring to it as a hoax, which he explicitly is, but that Donald Trump was involved in the FBI investigation as an informant. Then why would President Trump hesitate releasing the FBI files? Release the FBI files immediately. Exonerate yourself from any involvement with this sexual trafficker instead of trying to tally it up as a Democrat hoax from Barack Obama and from the Democrats. This doesn't make any sense at all, but like I said, the Epstein victims themselves, in the absence of transparency from the Trump administration, at least when it comes to the Epstein investigation, they stepped forward. They held a press conference. Many of them shared stories of their abuse, including one victim who said that she was flown from the United States on Epstein's jetliner to Africa with none other than Bill Clinton. Now, she stopped short of implicating him in any sort of sexual impropriety, but the inference is there, let's say. Producer Jack.
At first, I was an excited young woman on top of the world. Epstein flew me to his private island. He listened to my dreams, promised to help, but his promises came with a catch. The abuse began. He told me to keep it secret. He manipulated me with quid pro quo I did not consent to, but I felt I had no one to turn to. He was too powerful. I was just one of the many young women trapped in his orbit. I was even taken on a trip to Africa with former President Bill Clinton and other notable figures. In those moments, I realized how powerless I was. If I spoke out, who would believe me? Who would protect me? Epstein himself was the most powerful leader of our country. Epstein surrounded himself, with the most powerful leaders of our country and the world. He abused not only me, but countless others, and everyone seemed to look away. The truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump. It was his biggest brag, actually. And while what I endured will haunt me forever, I live every day with PTSD. I live as a mother trying to raise my child while distrusting a world that has betrayed me. This kind of trauma never leaves you. It breaks families apart. It shapes the way we see everyone around us.
Dear God. There's more. No. In spite of many attempts from our politicians to bury this story, it is something that's not going away, and nor should it until there is finally resolution to the sordid details and the misdeeds of those involved with Sex Pest Island and Jeffrey Epstein. And, you know, it shouldn't matter what political party any of those individuals belong to. It should only matter getting justice for the victims and ensuring that abuse on this scale can never take place again. But it is curious that now the narrative has shifted once again, and President Trump is said to have participated in an investigation that he calls a hoax, which begs the question, why would President Trump not demand a release of the Epstein files, at least in regards to his own participation in the investigation, to exonerate himself? I mean, it's strange stuff, Producer Jack, but a story that's not going away, and we will continue to cover right here on Saturday night on the Circle 93 WIBC. Stay tuned, because coming up next, another weekly edition of Conspiracy Corner with producer Carl. Don't miss it.
Sun's up, the coffee is brewing, and Tony Katz is your morning information barista.
Tony Katz, good to be with you.
Clarity.
We're not interested in having this debate. We're only interested in honestly addressing the issue.
Context.
We should not present this in any other light. The objective is the destruction of Western civilization.
And a little caffeine.
Only the Constitution should rule.
Tony Katz in the Morning News. Weekdays 6 till 9 on 93 WIBC.
There's just something special about late summer at Wilson Farm Market. The sweet corn's still crisp, the tomatoes are juicy, and the cucumbers taste just like the summer should. Stop by with the family, fill your basket with fresh produce, grab some hot, fresh fried chicken, pick up homemade jams, and select from hundreds of cheeses to make every meal something special. And don't forget that famous pretzel bread. It's always a hit at the dinner table. 20 minutes north of Carmel on 31 in Arcadia. Online at wilsonfarmmarket.com. That's wilsonfarmmarket.com.
It's not just adults who can feel stressed out. Our children feel stressed too. I'm Tammy Silverman of Indiana Youth Institute. Between school demands, maintaining friendships, and expectations from adults, it's no wonder that children sometimes feel stressed out. But unlike adults, experts say children may not be able to recognize stress or know how to cope. Luckily, you can help your child handle the challenges they're facing. Start by making yourself available to talk and be a good listener. Let your child express their views, and when you respond, focus on your child's feelings rather than your own. You can also ask your child what they need from you, whether it's advice or help solving a problem. But if stress is still overwhelming, experts recommend you reach out to a licensed mental health professional to make sure your child gets the support they need and deserve. This Kids Count Minute is a message from Indiana Youth Institute. For more parent tips, visit IYI.org.
Kids Count on you.
This time next week, I'll be sick in bed with West Nile virus, thanks to a mosquito bite right in front of my house.
In 8 minutes, my daughter will be in an ambulance, having an asthma attack, triggered by cockroaches.
I'm going to be bitten by a tick today. I won't even know it until Lyme disease turns my life upside down.
Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org. A public service message from the National Pest Management Association and the CDC.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Kirby Heating and Air, your American Standard air dealer, serving Hendricks and surrounding counties.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, $12 billion a year? That must be a typo. I'll tell you what I told my mom. It's not a typo. Verizon spends $12 billion a year on advertising and promotion, and their customers are paying for it. Well, Pure Talk doesn't spend that kind of money on commercials. Trust me, I would know. Consequently, they can offer you and my mother unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data on a blazing fast 5G network for just $25 a month. Dial pound 250 and say the words Mike Rowe, and you'll get an additional 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 Mike Rowe. Pure Talk. Everything you need and nothing you don't.
Take the work out of fall cleanup this year at Quality Supply and Tool, where there's a huge Milwaukee Power Tool sale going on until November 2nd while supplies last. Buy the M18 Fuel Edger, hedge trimmer, pole saw, or pruning shears, and get the M18 Red Lithium XE5 battery free. That's a $169 value. Quality Supply and Tool also has big savings on M18 Fuel handheld and backpack blowers, plus 16 and 20-inch battery chainsaws. With locations in Jeffersonville, Bloomington, Lafayette, and South Harding Street in Indy, Quality Supply and Tool thinks outside the box store.
My name is Jamie Bowles, and I was diagnosed with non-small cell lung cancer in December of 2018. Nobody would even know looking at me that I have stage 4 lung cancer, and I'm grateful for biomarker testing for that. When I was sitting down with my oncologist, there was already state-of-the-art medication available that I was going to be put on right then and there. Ask your doctor how comprehensive biomarker testing before treatment may help you decide on the best treatment. Visit NoOneMissed.org to learn more.
A public service message from Longevity Foundation.
You're listening to Saturday Night on the Circle on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to Saturday Night on the Circle. I'm your Bohemian Codger, Ethan Hatcher. The podcasts are uploaded to WIBC.com and Saturday Night on the Circle.fireside.fm. And we're streaming live on the YouTube machine 7 to 9 every Saturday night. As Democrat cities plummet ever further into tumult and chaos, malcontented Democrat governors like the dim-witted J.B. Pritzker bristle at the impending aid of federal law enforcement from the Trump administration to tame their hellish cityscapes. In a desperate attempt to shift blame, now the left-wing intelligentsia has laid the responsibility of rampant criminality within their cities on right-wing states, while their own prosecutors release violent felons onto the streets and limit the ability of law-abiding citizens to exercise their own right to self-defense. Shining a beacon of light through the darkness of Marxist hypocrisy is the ever-vigilant champion of decency, producer Carl, who joins us for another edition of Carl's Conspiracy Corner.
You're listening to Carl's Conspiracy Corner. The truth is out there.
Have you ever seen a commie drink a glass of water?
Well, yeah, I can't say I have.
The views expressed by Conspiracy Carl are those of Carl and Carl alone. They are not the views of his station or its distributors. I mean, obviously.
Returning deep beneath the streets of Indianapolis in the undisclosed broadcasting bunker, once again, another edition of Carl's Conspiracy Corner. Tell us, my friend, what's going on with these malcontented Democrats attempting to blame shift when it's their own cities that are spiraling into decay?
Well, first I want to correct what you said in my intro. It's not that Democrats are blaming right-wing states, because Indiana is hardly right-wing, as we've discussed.
Yes, these days that's certainly the case. They are rhinos.
Yeah, so
Republicans in name only.
Let's go to audio from Senator Dick Durbin about his problems.
All right.
It's great when the numbers go down, but people don't walk around saying, I feel 22% safer. What do you think people feel like is happening in Chicago?
Well, I tell you one thing they feel like. They feel like there are too damn many guns in Chicago, and they're coming in from other states like Indiana.
Okay. Yeah, it's the sales that are going on in Indiana that are the problem, not the violence that's being exported from these prosecutors. That's nuts.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is tried and true for Chicago politics. Is whatever their problem is, blame Indiana that is right next door, not the George Soros district attorney in Chicago that just keeps on releasing violent felons.
I mean, how much can they blame Indiana? Chicago's been out of control since the 1920s when they got Scarface running around.
We wouldn't have this Al Capone issue if it wasn't for that darn Indiana.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Now let's go to space alien former mayor Lori Lightfoot.
Oh, is she still a thing?
Yeah,
I didn't know people still paid attention to her. All right. Let's listen to Lori.
If you really cared about violent crime, go after the gun manufacturers who are just mass producing these weapons and have no liability or accountability. Go after the gun stores that know that they're selling to straw purchasers that flood into our city. Pass common sense gun reform that we have been begging for decades. Those are the kinds of things that actually would make a meaningful difference in violent crime. He's not talking about any of those things. He will not do any of those things because this is not about violent crime. It's about something else.
Illinois Nazis. I hate Illinois Nazis.
Okay, but first of all, Carl, that doesn't even make sense, because if a gun store if you're able to prove that they knowingly sold a weapon to a straw purchaser to avoid the background check, that's a crime. You can prosecute that. And then second of all, the idea that you're going to hold gun manufacturers liable for how their product is used makes about as much sense as trying to sue Ford because somebody drove their vehicle drunk. You know, I drove the Mustang drunk.
The MSNBC,
sue Ford.
The MSNBC audience doesn't know that. And that's where Lori Lightfoot was on. I'll say this. She's talking about crime.
Are they still MSNBC?
Yeah,
I thought they were going to be MS Now.
It's not now. It's
not now later.
Exactly. The one crime that I can remember that Lori Lightfoot, since she's talking about crime, that she committed is that she claimed that she had to go see her beautician during COVID. Remember? Like, she's going to a beautician?
Yeah, because you certainly couldn't tell.
So here's the deal. The left is always blaming the guns. The guns are the reason for all of their problems. And the truth of the matter is, as we've talked about on this show, which has been talked about on our radio station, the gun is just the object. If you want to kill a lot of people, you can take your car and run over people. That's been done. There are people that have gone on to public transportation systems and taken taken a knife and stabbed multiple people. It is the crazy person behind the tool that causes the problem, and the left constantly likes to re-release these crazy people onto the streets.
Well, if you want to look at the root of the problem, it's a lot of this what they have branded as quote-unquote restorative justice that's infected the prosecutors. Because you look no further than our own Ryan, friend of the miscreant Mears, who often pleads down the worst gun charges and then chooses to prosecute on lesser offenses. And if you put those criminals away and took them off the streets, the crime rate would go down, because more often than not, it's not random outbursts of anger from your ordinary law-abiding citizen. It's these nutcases who have been in and out of prison for most of their life. And if you took them out of society, so much of the problem would go away. Instead, they are treating people with kid gloves, and primarily they do this through the lens of race and a social justice view.
Well, so the beautiful thing that's going on in D.C. right now, it demonstrates that it can be done, that you can have safer streets if you just enforce the law. And
all of a sudden people aren't getting carjacked anymore. How about that's nice?
We also have cases where big blue cities, there were times where big blue cities like New York and L.A. had Republican mayors, and those were the best of times in recent history. Of course, we all know about Giuliani. I'm from L.A. The best time of L.A. in recent history is when we had a Republican mayor.
When was the last time L.A. had a Republican mayor?
It was like 1994 until 2002, I think.
Oh, wow.
So this was after the riots, and people was just like, enough, enough, enough. We're going to have a Republican. And sure enough, crime rates went down. Well, the Democrats solved this problem. Republicans don't run for mayor in Los Angeles anymore. You have the choice between two Democrats. So I think those good days for big cities like L.A. are over.
This seems like a desperate move from Democrats who are just trying to do anything they can to distract. And then now you have Governor J.B. Pritzker, who's going to say if law enforcement comes to Chicago, he's going to file a lawsuit to stop it from taking place.
Well, this is
why would you want your cities to continuously fall apart? That's the thing that galls me the most about this.
This is Conspiracy Corner, so
okay.
It's purposeful.
It's the Rothschilds.
It's purposeful. The thugs and the violent people on the street are essentially the foot soldiers of the left. They are doing the work of the left. They don't want businesses to thrive. They don't want families to thrive. They don't want individuals to thrive. They want you to constantly be afraid, so you're dependent upon them.
Because first you have to decimate the community in order to remake the community, just like the wildfires of California. Now they're exploiting the opportunity to push out residents and then remake the community in their own design.
Absolutely. And, there's been a lot of talk, even some concern on the right, about federalizing our local law enforcement. And I think that's a legitimate concern. But you know what? Local law enforcement in these big cities were federalized a long time ago. The Justice Department in the 1990s, after the Rodney King incident, they came under federal laws on how to treat criminals. And so you see police forces in all these big cities basically have a hands-off, like we just come to pick up the bodies after the incident. No aggressive anti-crime type of initiatives are allowed by these police departments because they're fearful that they're going to end up in jail if they violate these federal laws.
Well, and you go back to the 1950s when the National Guard was being used to enforce desegregation in the Deep South. So there's absolutely a place for the federal government to step in when you have these negligent Democrat governors who are failing their citizens and allowing society to decay and collapse around them.
And honestly, the people have no say. You can't say, well, they can vote. I mean... When you have these supermajorities, as we learned here in the state of Indiana, basically it's impossible to get these politicians out of their seats. And when the politicians feel that their seats are locked in, they don't care about their people.
Yeah, that's when service gets worse than ever. Well, I think that's a good place to leave off the conversation. Unfortunately, we're not going to get a lot of relief from these Democrats, but I'm glad that Donald Trump is stepping in. Somebody's got to.
Absolutely.
Thanks for another edition of Carl's Conspiracy Corner, and stay tuned to 93 WIBC. This is Saturday Night on The Circle.
Hammer and Nigel.
The state of Texas can require voter ID for mail-in ballots.
It's not required already.
But Joe Biden got 82 million legal votes, Nigel. If you think otherwise, you might as well put the tinfoil hat on, okay? I don't think it's asking too much to have some sort of proof that you're a legal citizen in your mail-in ballot. Find a way.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Mike, I think I saw a fox on my way in.
Oh, that was the Carfax Carfox. He was congratulating us on our Carfax Top Rated Service Center Award.
I have always rated Tire Discounters at the very top.
Oh, thanks. So does Carfax. And not just for tires, but for all our services, too.
Alignment, brakes, shocks and struts, and more.
Yes, sir.
But, Mike, do you think people believe Carfax over me?
Well, you are the Phantom tire buyer.
Exactly.
Grown-ups, don't go back to school. Go forward through school into your future as an IT professional. Whether you're starting out, switching careers, or a veteran ready for change, My Computer Career can help you get into IT in just a few short months with no prior experience. So take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Your rewarding career in IT awaits. That's mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the VA benefits.
Attention, Indiana homeowners. Are you tired of avoiding your wet basement? Hi, I'm Mike Smith with Swanco Crawl Space and Basement Repair, your real, local, Indiana family-owned experts. Imagine all the possibilities of a guaranteed dry basement, a cozy new family room, a home gym, or even a new office. And with no interest, no payment financing, you don't have to break the bank to do it. Make the most of your basement today. Call Swanco 317-407-1868 or swancollc.com.
The IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship is back at the racing capital of the world. This sports car racing event, September 19th through 21st, is different than anything you've seen at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Sunday the 21st, it's the TireRack.com Battle on the Bricks. And now the race runs 6 hours. The paddock is open for fans all weekend long. Infield camping opportunities make this a can't-miss weekend. Kids 15 and under are free with a paid adult. Get your tickets at IMS.com.
Children are placed in foster care through no fault of their own. Because of abuse or neglect, it's heartbreaking.
We were just left in a hotel.
Tay and his brothers were adopted with help from the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption. But more than 100,000 children in the U.S. are still waiting for a family.
Now that I'm adopted, I can focus on being a kid.
Learn how you can help at davethomasfoundation.org.
See a wreck on 465? Find a new pothole on your way to work? You can let Matt Bear know and help out your fellow travelers. Text WIBC to 317-239-9393 and join the text club. This is Saturday Night on The Circle on 93 WIBC.
Thanks, everybody, for spending your Saturday evening with me. I surely appreciate it. And although I should have done so earlier in the show, make sure to go ahead and give the YouTube show a like, give us a thumbs up. Helps us in the algorithm and helps the station as well. Last hour, I had wanted to talk about some of the horrors that we are living through in modern society, but unfortunately, I ran out of time, so I'm going to circle back to that story because it was just fascinating about genetically altering horses in South America. It has an opportunity to completely upend the breeding industry, the horse racing industry, and I think not for the better. This was a story from the New York Post. They look like ordinary foals, docile with honey brown coats and white facial patches, content to spend their days munching alfalfa in a cordoned off pasture in rural Buenos Aires province. But these 5-10-month-olds are the world's first genetically altered horses, cloned
cloned copies of a prize-winning horse named Polo Pureza or Polo Purity with a single DNA sequence inserted using CRISPR technology with the aim of producing explosive speed. Kirion Biotech, the Argentinian company that created the horses, says gene editing has the potential to revolutionize horse breeding. And I think there's also an enormous potential for exploitation and for genetic abominations to be unleashed upon the world. We're getting ready to do to the horse, like I said, what we've already done to the pug, what we've already done to the Great Dane, beasts who unfortunately, due to their genetic makeup, live incredibly short and painful lives because we pushed the breeding to the max in order to prioritize those racing traits, and consequently we completely screwed up their anatomy, and we're getting ready to do it to the horse too. I don't like to see this, Producer Jack. While creating clones are a genetically identical copy, CRISPR functions as a sort of genetic scissors to cut and customize DNA. This sounds like something out of a cyberpunk dystopia, but unfortunately it is all too real. The company, which specializes in equine cloning, uses CRISPR to reduce the expression of the myostatin gene, which limits muscle growth. The idea was to increase the muscle fibers that allow for powerful movements and so transform the horses into sprinters. So we are attempting to completely bypass the process of evolution and take nature into our own hands, something that has had extremely questionable results in the past, Producer Jack. I am not a fan of this gene editing of horses, if for no other reason than protecting the horses themselves, who are sure to suffer under the financial motivation of people who are racing them, who are using them for sport, who are benefiting from the musculature and anatomy of these horses that they are creating. Sick stuff. Elsewhere in the world, this is a 49-year-old vascular surgeon by the name of Neil Hopper, and he's across the pond in the United Kingdom, now facing potential prison time after he had been named the bravest surgeon in Britain for having to amputate both of his legs. But now, according to prosecutors, that is all being called into question because it turns out he mutilated himself, freezing his legs and ensuring they would be amputated in order to satisfy a perverse sexual fetish.
This is a new one for me. I've just been discharged from hospital and I was admitted unwell with sepsis of unknown cause, but there were some complications of my hospital treatment and I lost both my legs below the knees.
This 49-year-old vascular surgeon was once named the bravest in Britain after he had to amputate both of his legs. But now Neil Hopper, who performed hundreds of amputation operations of his own, has pleaded guilty to 2 fraud charges after he told insurers that his legs needed to be removed because of sepsis and not because of his self-inflicted injury. According to reports from inside the courtroom, Hopper actually froze his own legs with ice and dry ice to ensure his legs would be removed. In insurance claims totaling more than $625,000, a friend of Hopper allegedly told him to milk the payout. The now former surgeon spent some of the money on a $30,000 camper van and $340,000 on home improvements and a hot tub. According to testimony laid out against Hopper in court, the surgeon wanted his legs to be chopped off because of an obsession with removing parts of his own body and a sexual interest in doing so.
It's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay? No more. I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's time to stop.
And it doesn't end there, Producer Jack, because unfortunately the perversion goes on. Not only was he defrauding the insurers for personal enrichment and to satisfy a sick sexual fetish, he was also in possession of extreme pornographic materials, and that's part of how this whole sordid affair was discovered. An investigation in conjunction with the pornographic creator there, I believe in the United Kingdom, who apparently filmed these videos with willing participates, modeling such things as crushing testicles, mutilating or dismembering genitals, other parts of the body, and then sharing this online in corners of the dark web. And this surgeon purchased a few of the videos for his own sick pleasure, and it just adds an element of extreme perversion, the fact that he was performing amputations professionally and potentially getting some sort of pleasure that was derived from that. Producer Jack, this is not terribly different in my estimation from the transgender movement, where individuals are cutting off parts of their body, mutilating themselves, altering themselves to satisfy a sexual fetish, a sexual delusion. What is the difference between that and what this surgeon did to himself? Can you think of any legitimate difference there? No. I mean, unfortunately, we live in a world where these mental delusions are being coddled, where people who have these sick fascinations can pursue them through dark avenues online. And this is just an incredibly sick dystopian story that unfortunately is becoming too common in the modern age. He is far from alone. There are lots of sick puppies all around this world. That was just a crazy story, and I wanted to share it with you. Unfortunately, that is all the time I've got, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a really good show, Producer Jack. I've been really pleased with the direction of the show this evening. There's been lots of content, lots of people watching, participating in the chat. It's been a good time.
Yeah, it's been a great show.
Yeah, and I appreciate you doing a good job on the board as always.
Of course, anytime.
Stick around, ladies and gentlemen. There's more to come on 93 WIBC. But as for my part, I am done for the evening. I will be returning next week. Of course, you can catch my podcasts uploaded to WIBC.com, as well as my personal podcasting page, Saturday night on thecircle.fireside.fm. We're on Omni. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on a couple other platforms to check out the show and don't miss an episode. Unfortunately, that's all the time I got, so I'll leave you with my parting words of wisdom. As always, whoever you are, wherever you're at, and whatever you're doing, remember that life is a state of mind. See you next time, guys.
President will change the name to Department of War.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
Chronic disease in our children went up to 76%, and you said nothing.
I like the fact that he's different.
D.C. Attorney General filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration.
Another update is just minutes away.
Terrorist gang members transporting illegal drugs.
What happens next?
A shooting on South Meridian Street.
Happens here.
Unfortunate incidents occur all over.
Stay in the know.
Clark will have to miss the remainder of the season
while you're on the go.
So my mother is thinking of switching from Verizon to Pure Talk, but she's worried the deal sounds too good to be true. Michael, she said, how can those Pure Talk people offer me the same basic service as Verizon for so much less money? I said, Mom, go ask Google how much Verizon spends on advertising and promotion. A few seconds later, my mother said, oh my goodness, 12